Welcome back to the Coaches Unscripted podcast. I'm your host, Trey Belcher. With me, as always, as owner of Go Performance Clarksburg and Gemini Fitness Solutions, Corey Smallwood.
What's up, Trey? It's going.
Oh, man, we got a good one today. So this is very, very special. The power couple of Perform Better, Rob and Erin Milani. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us, guys.
You.
So you guys, for anybody who's been to a summit, know you guys from being the faces of this thing and also from introducing all the speakers. So how would you introduce each other?
That's a great question.
Oh,
You said you had a zinger to start off with. Wow. All right, I'm going to let you go first on that one.
ladies first. Ladies first.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming back from lunch on time. We appreciate it. Next up is Rob Milani. Rob has been with Perform Better now for 25 years. He speaks really fast sometimes, and you may not understand his gibberish, but we'll try to get you to understand him. He works on product development here at Perform Better. He does he's our sales manager at Perform Better. He's comic relief at Perform Better. I actually said that he was a wing eating champion in the catalog a couple of years ago, and that was totally not true, but I did actually put that in print. So yeah, Rob Milani, everybody.
Hey.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
That's all right.
To the speaker school.
That's the way we like to do it here. Corey hit me with one a couple weeks ago, and I haven't gotten him back yet, but I learned. All right, Rob, you're up.
Trey,
Say that again.
what was the question?
He hit me up on youth sports. You know, he cut me right to my soul, and the monetization of youth sports and how kids are thought or led to think that they are behind if they don't play for this team or that team, and how early specialization at 8, 9, 10 years old, and as an old baseball guy, that one
That's
cut
a
deep.
rabbit hole you could go on for probably 3 months there. We have a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old, and we're right in the soup on that stuff right now. So specialization and cost and youth programs and what people are trying to get them into year round and cost to do it is absolutely insane. And now we're talking reclassing and JUCO years and all this other stuff. So we also
have an 8-month-old, and she has her whole future planned already, from the time she's starting swim lessons to is she doing wrestling versus hockey because she needs to learn how to skate by the time she's 3 years old, right, versus throwing her on a mat. Like, we have these conversations, which is scary because she may be into theater. Who knows? But
yeah,
it's a conversation to have.
Sure. And, as a parent, as long as your kids are mildly well-adjusted once they grow up and they treat people the right way, it doesn't matter. You want them to play and do the things they want to do and have fun with their friends, but ultimately games are going to be over. And, what are the foundations that you really raised these people with? How have you shared life lessons, and how have you taught your kids, and how have you taught them to treat people the right way? And sports is a background for that. And these are things that they will learn through sport, but the emphasis on the wrong parts of it, and the winning and losing at 8, 9, and 10 years old. And those are the things that really we get twisted. And the coaches, there are coaches in it for the right reasons. And it's the coaches who maybe get a little sidetracked in what's really important is the thing that is what makes it bad. The few certainly make it harder on the good.
Have you met Erin Milani saying these things are an option? Like,
so this is how you would introduce me. I'm a psycho.
This is just how Rob's going to introduce her.
Is when you're like, this is all about just being like good, like, hey, let's make sure everyone's in there and they're just adjusted. She literally has dialed in this kid's entire life. Now, God help her if she's an artsy girl. because
I love theater.
Erin's already looking at body type and what the best sports are going to be for her, times to sign them up for each sport.
You need to sign up early to have fun.
And, we did get into wrestling late with Logan, so now she's like at 3. We're starting wrestling, hockey. We're starting.
He should not be as soft sometimes. And if he started when he was 3, he would be, I'm just kidding.
I have 2 theater girls and SGA kids, and it's like, what could have been. But at the end of the day, they're still, I think what sports is really designed to do is build character, right? Theater builds character, whether you're in SGA, whatever the activity is, insert whatever activity, it's there for, community and character, and that
teamwork and accountability.
Even just the structure.
Teamwork and accountability.
Yep,
that's quite big too on there.
Yeah.
It's really it. Yeah.
You can read every study out there from kids doing less drugs, less pregnancy in high school. There's so many studies that are just such positive on there. So we don't force them to do sports, but they have to do something.
Sure, correct.
So you have to be part of some community and have some involvement.
Find your thing.
So it's taking Ava a little bit longer than Logan, that's for sure. But she's finally kind of find a way a little bit. Logan's at everything. We signed up for 3 sports in the spring. We probably do a little too much.
It's a little too much.
Well,
yeah, that's my fault. But nowadays, here's the problem: is you have to sign them up, or they don't have a spot. So, like ski school, we have a little ski mountain right behind our house, and we sign them up. You have to sign them up in, I think it was September, and it starts like the end of December. But there's like a 2-week window that if you weren't in there last year, you don't get priority. So there's like a very short window to sign them up, and it might only be a day. So if you don't sign them up that day, they're not getting into ski school. So I signed them up for ski school. Well, guess what? Then you have wrestling those nights because wrestling got changed. So did they ever go to ski school one night? No. So it's like one of those, but if you don't do it and wrestling doesn't change, like then they're missing out on an opportunity. So right now it's such a problem that like, do you sign them up and then just like throw the money away? And like, you kind of do just to give them that opportunity. Like if they have it right now, we signed up for indoor lacrosse. It's every other Friday. It started in November. It ends in March. He's never been there once. Like it's
only because we've had wrestling every Friday night, and now we're in club wrestling. So we picked up club wrestling. So
it's just one of those like there's not enough.
Those are the easier parts about it. The U teams. Those are the tough ones where the coaches are trying to make their own salaries off it, and they're pushing your kids into it and trying to get into baseball year round and trying to know this like you don't need to play baseball year round. Not at that age. Right. You're going to get specialized at one point, but. So we face that with Logan right now too. He's getting to an age where people are recruiting him, and he's 12 years old. We never thought we were going to have this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a good problem to have, but people want him everywhere on teams, and it's like, oof, jeez. Yeah.
And all of those things, never once have we talked about wins and losses. Never once have we talked about those things that coaches say, hey, you need to come play for us because we're better. It doesn't. The lessons that you're going to get out of that are not, hey, we won this, or we have this little ring that we won at this tournament or whatever. None of those things matter. It is life lessons. It is the teamwork. It is working together. It is dealing with loss. It is, resilience. It is all those things that are what really makes sports special. The wins are fun. The losses are tough. But when you're dealing with loss and you're looking over at the guy beside you and he's giving his all and you knew he was there the whole time, those are the things that are important. And that's why teamwork is important. That's why I reached out to Corey to say, hey, let's do this thing. Let's do this thing together so that we can have something that we can share. And that's sort of the problem I have, the juxtaposition with youth sports. The lessons that you get out of it are great, but how it's sold sometimes and how it's pushed sometimes gets a little skewed.
The other one too is your parents. I mean, you talk about people wanting to win. Parents are trying to push their kids into things they don't want to be in. I mean, we coach multiple teams, and kids just don't want to be part of that, or there's just not the sport for them too.
Sure.
So we want them involved with something, and then they commit 1 year at a time. So if Logan signs up for something, he is fully committed. There's not a missing practice, and it's one season. Then we reevaluate next season after the end of the season. So
sure, and like with the ski school and with the lacrosse, those things you try them, and if they aren't the things that he's interested in going to, then those things will get sloughed off. And those things year over year are not the same. And you eventually sort of narrow your focus onto the one or two things that you want to do. And you try not to, get locked into that year-round baseball.
We're finding ourselves into a parental dilemma on this one right now. So football is Logan's favorite sport. Wrestling was a sport to do to make him better at football. And lacrosse we thought was going to be a good sport. We started during COVID. Lacrosse is not giving a ton of athletic benefit, but he really likes it. So us as parents are falling down the same rabbit hole that we tell everyone not to, and trying to push him more towards wrestling more throughout the year, because we know athletically it's going to benefit him so much more. So
we still sign him up for
we're
lacrosse.
putting ourselves in check on this one, and he's still playing lacrosse
because he loves it. But it's one of those
he just can't go on Friday.
Well, that's his skills and drills. He signed up for the spring already, but it's one of those if we concentrated on his club wrestling during the spring, that leads into football. I think it would benefit him more. And he's like, I love lacrosse, so we're like, great, we're going to lacrosse. But we personally know, God, this could really help him. Lacrosse, he just stands there oh, this is so easy. Because he just chucks it downfield. So it's but he has fun. So we have to sign him up, and he enjoys it. Even though it's eating me alive inside. I'm just kidding.
Going back to, have you met Erin Milani?
I play devil's advocate.
Yeah,
sure, and we all do, and that's a problem, not a problem, but that's part of what you sign up for as a parent. Is you two try to figure this thing out, and Jenna and I try to figure this thing out for Charlie and Jillian, and Corey's got to figure this thing out for the girls. It's just it's hard, and it's the hardest thing that you'll do. It's way harder than any job. It's because you look in the mirror and you look at each other and say, God, how are we doing a good job? Are we screwing this thing up?
Though, Trey, so it is the hardest, but also the most rewarding.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the maddening part of it.
Sorry. I can't resist that.
All right. Would you like my intro for Erin so we get back on track here?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I should start up next, hailing from Southern New Jersey. Now, Erin actually was a two-sport athlete at Rutgers. She played soccer and track and field, ran the 400, played with a extremely touted team, Carly Lloyd being one of her teammates out there, and several other Olympians. Went in for exercise science, actually got into strength and conditioning for, I want to say, 5 years after college. Worked with a lot of pro baseball players, so she can talk the talk and walk the walk at Perform Better. Her job interview here, she absolutely hated it, cried in the car, and said, I'm never going to work there. After a little bit of coercing, she decided to take the job, and Perform Better has certainly become a far, far better company by having her on board. She knows her stuff. She can talk the strength and conditioning world, but took on a lot of our marketing throughout the years and sales. I mean, she just knows the product front and back too. So she's been a massive addition to the company. I can't believe it's been, 18 years now?
No, I'm 20.
20. Wow. So 20 years already. I'm 25 years in. So my pleasure to introduce everyone, Erin Milani.
Yours was so much better.
They're professionals.
Sign me up for speaker school. That was a disaster.
Tom's been trying to push us to take speaker school forever. So that's every time we sit in the back of the room and we say, man, this is so good. And then I just get a little anxiety and I'm like, hey, I really want to do this.
We sweat watching other people go through it. And we've probably been through 10 speaker schools now. It's not like we sit in the back and we don't know what's coming up. We're like, watch this, watch what's. And then I'm like, oh God, if that was me, I'm like sweating in the back and I don't have to get up and do it. But it's amazing to see. Probably both of our favorite seminars.
Favorite seminar in 25 years with Perform Better. It's the favorite seminar I've ever seen. To see the progression from people on day 1 to day 3, how people walk in, how people walk out, and how much more polished they are is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. You guys have both gone through it. It's probably one of the more nerve-wracking things you've ever done, but to see people bond together and become a community real quick and kind of, it's the one time Tom's the bad guy and the entire group says F you to Tom because they bond together. So that's the kind of cool part about it, is he uses them to build each other up. And he's gotten softer over the years. He's not knocking people down as hard as he used to. So it's a great seminar. If anyone hasn't been to it, it certainly is our favorite one.
Yeah.
And like we've talked about several times, if you go to speaker school, I am the example of what not to do. and Tom lays it out like that. So no matter how poorly you do, you can't be the example of what not to do. And here we are. So, it's 100% worth it. Speaker school, any of the Perform Better summits, if you've never been to any of them, you've got to get there. They're the best in the industry. And it's because of people like Rob and Erin. And I've got something, the first text message that really we ever shared, and I've got it in my old Galaxy S9 phone here, to tell you what kind of family this is, to tell you what it's all really about. You have the education, you get the best education out there, but being part of the Perform Better family, and this is verbatim, this won't take but a second. So I sent Erin a text message, I think, for everything. This is dated August 4th, 2019. Thanks for everything, Erin. You guys are the best. See you soon. Thank you. I hope you had fun. I said, I had an absolute blast. I feel a little more like part of the family each time I'm around. She said, you definitely are. Don't say a little part of the family ever again, or I'll smack you. So that's what it's like to be in the Perform Better family. It really is, and that was the first time. That was 6 years ago. And so now I am officially in the fam, she said, back in 2019. And here we are just a few short years later, and, we can laugh about these things. But guys like you who've been there for so long, and, now you're married, but it wasn't always like that. We've talked about that, and I want to touch on that in just a second. You become part of the family, and the stories that happen, the stories that, that sort of make families are what's really important. So for anybody that hasn't been to a summit, hasn't been to speaker school, this is my plug for it, because it will be so rewarding personally and professionally to you. So get there as soon as possible.
Trey, I remember that night specifically, by the way. Everyone talks about, the summits being the conversations in the hallways or the socials. And we had our social that night. We probably had a few cocktails, and then we went downstairs, and it was used to be an old cigar bar down there that converted into a little martini bar kind of thing. And I was asked if you want to drink. Like, I don't really drink too much, but I'm like, well, do you want something? Do you want some water? I'm like, no, I'm going to have a drink. And I'm like, well, did you want to get out of here or something? He's like, nope, I'm going to be the last man here. I'm going to soak up everything I can. Mm-hmm. He had a couple other speakers at the table, and he's like, I'm here to soak up every part of what is going to happen. I'll never be the first person to leave. I'll always be one of the last guys walking out the door in there. Yep. And Trey just sits there, and he not always is the loudest guy in there, but he's listening to everything going on. That is for sure. And there's a ton of stuff that's the ability to sit down with a Mike Boyle and a Tom Plummer and a Gray Cook, and just when I was 20 years old, to sit down with these guys in Verstegen, just these monumental guys, and you're like, Jesus, I don't belong at this table. But Perform Better gave us the ability to really learn an awful lot over 25 years by just. It's tough for me to shut my mouth because I talk so much, but in those occasions, I do find myself being able to quiet down and just listen.
It really is and first of all, Trey, if you had read a text message from Rob Milani, I was going to blow up.
He probably has 820 of them.
I was about to lose it. I was like, if that is texting Trey and not texting me.
Oh, I was so close.
How many?
815 unread messages. And how many missed calls?
Missed calls or not? I don't get missed calls.
That you didn't answer.
I didn't answer?
Or voicemails.
Oh, voicemails. These aren't work voicemails, though. Or
275.
Yeah, but they're like all spam stuff.
Yeah,
no, if it's work related, we're on
I know
it.
you answer.
He pulled up a text message. I was like, that better be from Erin. I'm thinking this back of my head.
I have no tour. You know what it is? The platforms when we first started is you had our work line to reach us, and that's awesome. Then we got into email, and then it started breaking over into the social media, which I didn't adopt to very well. So then all of a sudden, customers, friends, everyone's just DMing you on social media, and then the text front too. So the day you're on a call like this, we could have 8 of these lined up for the day. Then all of a sudden, I'm getting 200 to 300 emails throughout the day, and then 50 texts, and then so it's a challenge to keep up with all of it. It makes it fun, that's for sure. Yeah, text is kind of like the last front because it's usually a friendly, like, hey, what's going on? It's usually less work related on the text chains.
Rob's definitely a call me guy.
100%. I'll always pick up the phone and call you. Yeah. Everybody's like, I'm texting him. I'm like, No, I'm just going to call him.
I'll say like, oh, I talked to my brother the other day, and he's like, did you really talk to him or did you text him? I'm like, well, I sent him a text, but my brother's like, he won't get him on the phone, or he just doesn't want to talk. So if it's a simple question, I'll get an answer. And he's like, that's not talking to someone. And I'm like, all right.
I was a stickler on this, and I'm changing it slowly because the world texting is talking now.
Right.
That is associated as the same. But to me, talking to someone as I physically talked, I had interaction back and forth, and I get the clear story, where text doesn't always do that. So this was like a family plan we were talking about, and you wanted some detail to it, where a text is like, hey, are you going? Not, getting the full story to it.
Yeah.
So I'm getting better.
He's getting better.
I'm getting better.
Back to that, just had to let everybody know what was going through my mind as Trey's reading that. But back to the whole family aspect of it, I think that really is one of the most powerful attributes of the Perform Better organization. And there are a lot of summits, and I like everything has a con out there. There's the trainer con and summit this, and like everybody has one nowadays. It's hard to even decipher where to get the education from. And I always say that Perform Better is more than an education company. It's more than equipment company. And dare we use the word family. I know that after 28 years of doing what I'm doing, I mean, Rob, you and I have known each other, and Erin, I mean, for forever. Rob and I met. It was very odd that we're talking. Well, it wasn't odd that we were talking at a bar. That was, duh. But we were talking. At the time, we each had a dog, and it was named the same name, but wasn't like my dog Rex. Our dogs were named Anubis. And I was like, oh, I'm going to like this guy. Like, that's pretty. I'm the only person in the entire world that names their dog Anubis. And Rob's like, nope, my dog's named Anubis too. So you start having these conversations with people, and the people that I looked up to when I started going to the Perform Better workshops and summits and the one days, the Gray Cooks and the Tom Plumbers and the Bill Parisi and Mike Boyle and Alan Cosgrove and all these guys, like, they're there to help people. They are there as educators. They're there in the trenches. Bill had 5 gyms at the time, and Cressy had his, Boyle has his. Like, they're all doing what I was like, holy crap, this is so much knowledge that I can have. And they're the nicest people. Like, you realize that they're just people. And so you can go up to them at these conferences and workshops, and whether you're, sitting at the table just quiet, which is how we all kind of start out at that table. You're like, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. But after a while, you're like, wow, we're all in this for the same reason. And that's such a powerful thing to have, that now you have this network that you can, I was on Anthony Rena's podcast not too long ago, and did a webinar for Perform Better, and like, that's only from being part of the organization for X amount of years. And that's where the value comes in. You get the initial education, you get top quality product, but it goes so far beyond, just the Perform Better organization.
We always say, as a presenter, obviously you have to know your stuff and be able to deliver on stage. But we have 2 rules. Don't be an a-hole, and when I sit down and have a beer with them. That's kind of the criteria. Is we want someone that wants to go up, and if they have an attendee that has questions, they have to be reachable. They have to want to give that information out, and they are so good with it. So that's what makes the summits go around, and why we really push that social at night too. It's a chance to get to know someone. Like, that's why we're always at the bar hanging out. It's not about having drinks all the time. It's about actually getting to know someone. Yeah. You're 2 girls, and Trey's family, and his dad passed away young, and my dad passed away young, going through those stories, and just actually really getting to know someone. So that's where you guys have built a network, just even at the summits right now. That's you guys, right? Look at you right now. And what's going on? We've had people meet and get married, two different couples so far at the summits meet and get married there. So it's the interactions there that really make the difference. And we do try and make it a family atmosphere. We try and go out of our way as a staff at those things to make it special for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it absolutely is. And that is the reason why I say I'm in until the party's over. You guys are always the last, except for last year, and you had good reason.
we had a 2-month-old, but we did make it till I think 8:30 at night with a 2-month-old. So that's I got to take a solid on us for that one, right?
I got to say, Jason Glass was a huge help and actually took her during the social and didn't give her back. And I was like, awesome.
I like you even more, Jason. I liked you before, but I love you now.
You just make your way onto the PB Summit again next year.
Well, and you bring up Jason. I'm gonna throw up the picture that I have of us riding back from Chris's house, where it's us and the Cosgroves and Jason and Dan Kleckner and Rick Trout, and I'm sitting in the middle. I mean, sitting on the floorboard, totally, not kosher. But I had Rachel give me the mom seat belt just in case I ever needed it.
Yeah.
And I told Gray this years ago, and this is my mentality on it, is I just want to be in the room. I don't need to be at the table yet. I don't need to be in the conversation yet, because eventually somebody's going to get up from that table and I'm going to be in the room. I'll be the guy dabbing your forehead from sweat. I'll be the guy bringing you water. Doesn't matter to me. But as long as I'm in the room, because at some point I'm listening. I'm always listening. I don't need to be the one talking. And that's why I love doing this, because we can ask questions and just let you guys do all the talking. But let me in the room, because eventually somebody's going to get up, and then you're going to look around and you're going to say, we need somebody to fill this seat. And then they're going to see me in the corner, me in the spotlight, losing my religion. And I'm going to say, I'm your guy, and that's just, that's the beauty part of it. And and then we can do stuff like this and have more long form conversations and really delve into the things that, you don't get to when you're at the summits, because there are so many different, eyes on you and so many different, hands in the pot and so many different questions from so many different people. And so we can sort of extrapolate those things and hopefully share that with the people, because, and I've said this before, I've got questions, for you guys as professionals. I've got questions for you guys as friends. And I'm sure if I've got these questions, and somebody else has got to have it too. So let's share that with everybody, and let's really let people get to know you beyond those 5 or 10, 15-minute interactions that you get, and really show the person behind the Perform Better face, and show the person, show you what you guys, the goodness of people. And that's really everything to me. And that's my ethos and wanting to do stuff like this and share this time with all of you guys and share this time with the world. So, I don't know where I was going other than the REM
reference.
Yep.
You could see your brain laugh. You're like, I just threw out an REM lyric.
When you say getting to know us, Trey, I think Erin can speak for this too. There's not a different face that goes on at the summit. So we are as who we are as we possibly could be. It's
100%.
I've been there for 25 years, and it's a job that I've truly loved doing. We've got to meet so many people. I've traveled the world, literally the entire world 20 times, whether it be Asia, Germany, Japan, China, you name it, everywhere. So that's kind of a cool thing, is we've been able to keep it interesting. I get the ability to do a lot of product development stuff. I still do a lot of our sales stuff too. So we do enjoy doing it. The summits are kind of the icing on the cake. It's going out, and we get to sit out there and we're having a few beers with our friends, really. And so many of these, what used to be customers and clients, our wedding probably had 20 former clients there that are now some of our best friends. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's not exactly a job when you look at it that way. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've talked about it several times, and, we had Griff on here in one of our trial runs, and I'm going to try to get Griff to give me permission to put some of the outtakes on eventually. But, if I need something, I call Griff. We talk for 45 minutes, and then we do business at the end. And that's the friendship. And we'll eventually get to it. But, before we really got going on this thing, Griff called me and said, "Hey man, how's the podcast coming?" We hadn't done anything yet. We were I was building out my room here and going through the process, but just the personal touches and the personal care that goes into it is something that you don't necessarily get everywhere. And that's another one of the things that makes the Perform Better family, so special.
So you're familiar with solar panels needing to be replaced on his roof right now?
Yeah.
Oh man, we bought a a little bit of a lemon on a house, it seems.
We've talked about it. Yeah.
Should probably stop there.
Yeah.
But if you think about, especially for newer, whether it's gym owners, whether it's fitness professionals that are getting started, maybe I always say you don't know what you don't know until even 5 years into the business. But you got Rob Milani, who's been in it for 25 years. Erin's been in it for 20 years. Jamie's been there for how long? Chris has been there. Griff has been there. Vin has been there. Carlos has been, like, you guys have seen everything. Like, you have seen the evolution of, you were there before functional fitness was even a thing. You were there before, you know what I'm saying? So, like, what a wealth of knowledge, not just from, you can almost see trends and see what's coming back. You were just talking about, you know, the new signature line, everything's, you know, how hot plate loaded stuff is again. And what a wealth of knowledge that you guys are, especially for whether it's a younger trainer or if it's somebody that's outfitting a new gym, or maybe they just need to reinvent themselves. Well, what's coming up? Well, who am I going to reach out to? I'm going to go to the guys that have been in the industry doing this, you know, boots on the ground for 20, 25 years.
That's most of my day right now. We tend to lean towards our high performance guys, our NFL and our Major League Baseball guys, to see what trends are coming up and what's working. So not just what can we sell in the market, what's actually going to benefit someone right now. And obviously recovery, everyone knows, is so hot right now. So we're on the phone. I can't tell you how many hours I've talked about red light therapy, trying to educate myself on it right now of what actually works and what doesn't work. And then, you know, cold ice was not good for you. And then it's good for you mentally and mental clarity, and then sauna. So it is fun chasing the trends. When we started, it was, you know, stability balls. Yeah. That was like the new thing. Yeah. And then bands and then ladders. It was like the most basic things in the world. Right. And then functional training kind of got a little bit of a hold, and it was the it thing. And now the term's just been so overused. I think back in the industry in the day, to be functional, you had to be on a bongo balance board on a stability ball, shaking 2 weights up over your heads. It got pretty ugly after a while. But functional is, I mean, the definition now is, what is it for you? Are you a bodybuilder? Are you trying to move the rest of your life and just be healthier, keep mobility? Are you trying to lose weight? So the term functional kind of takes on a lot of new different meanings. But chasing the trends has kind of been the fun thing of going from stability balls to bands, to then kettlebells coming in, to then battling ropes coming in. You know, think back, we didn't have kettlebells in gyms. 02, 03, 04. No one knew what a kettlebell was. And then kettlebell hits the scene, and everyone's like, what is this stuff? And then we were starting to train with kettlebells. I couldn't get my swing down, and we had a guy, Phenomenal Fitness, Sean Armstead, finally like dialed me in like 10 minutes. I was like, wow, this is awesome. So it's he
was also a speaker at the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Long-time customer.
So being able to lean on these speakers, it's been fun. I like Charlie Weingroff right now too. Like, Erin tears her ACL, and you talk about family, and he's like, every night he's like, we're just going to FaceTime, and we're going to go through protocols, and we're going to go through regressions and progressions on there. And he's like, I am your PT. Whatever you need from me, I am here for you.
I think that's so cool, because I tell you, I reach out to the speakers as well. Through COVID, when we had to shut down, I reached out to Mark Fisher, who converted everything online. And by the way, for all of you young fitness professionals out there, don't ask for free. Like, pay these professionals. And even though Mark Fisher is one of my friends, I still paid the man. When I get advice from my business mentor, Tom Plummer, he still charges me, you know, so
well, that's obvious.
You know, but like, so that's a whole side thing. Like don't try to expect to get this information, this knowledge for free. They've worked really hard and paid their dues, and they are going to help you, but their time more than their knowledge comes at a cost. But I reached out to Mark Fisher, and he helped me convert our, you know, online training. So that was awesome. Or I have a client who has a neck issue, and he's been through every professional here. I reach out to Dr. Jenna Gatsis, and we did a little Zoom, and yeah, look, she's helping out. Like, it's wonderful, the network that is within that Perform Better community. I always say, I probably have the answer. If I don't, I can guarantee you I know somebody in my network who has that answer.
No, we reach out all the time. We had not reached out to anyone because we never wanted to cross the line of these guys are speakers. We always want to respect their time. And as the kids getting older, it was like, all right, maybe I have a question about Logan in training. So I reach out to Mike, or, and it was the big one was when Erin hurt herself too and tore her ACL. So the network there is, and they're just so unbelievable, so willing to help. It's great for us to be around. It's a good group of people to be around. So as we get older, we always say we only have so many slots left for friends in our lives. It takes a lot. And these guys, I mean, guys and girls, there's so many of them that we respected and like to be around that, that they've taken those slots too.
Yeah. Which is the best summit, right? So I don't think you've released the summits yet, but Long Beach, Chicago, and
I may have
Providence
just today, but I'm not telling.
Oh, okay.
So you can look at it from a couple different standpoints. Providence is our biggest one. So if you're just talking sheer energy, it's always going to be the most energetic. It's just packed everywhere. The hands-ons are packed. There's just something that comes with having a room with 500 people in there, doing a Martin Rooney hands-on. Everyone's exploding in there.
It's also our hometown. Mm-hmm. So for us, it's like home field advantage, where we started to have customers now come in a day early to hang out, or after Sunday, we brought people on the boat. We, had people stay at our house on Sunday night. And you're exhausted after a summit, but when you have customers that are willing to be like, you know what, I'm staying Sunday night, we're hanging out. You just find that energy, and it's a longer summit for us because it's nonstop. From Tuesday night on, it's not like
we'd take 10 or 15 people on the boat, or we went to the beach club last year that our friend is a member of. So we got them all in there too and hung out. So it has a little bit more for us on there. I think the other two, some of the benefits to it, speaker lineups really don't change too much. We rotate our speakers through every year. Probably get a little bit more personalized touch on there. If you're a smaller group, if you're a younger trainer, maybe you're going to want that a little bit more access to them because there are less people in there too. So the one is the energy that just can't be, there's just something cool about that. But if I had now go down from 200 people in a room to 40 people, I have more ability to ask them questions. I have a little bit more ability to talk to them at the social that might not have 400 people there. It might have 250 people. So access is a little bit more available.
I feel like there's certain customers every year that I look forward to seeing at each event. There's a crew out in Long Beach that I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see you. And there's a crew out in Chicago that's like, I can't wait to see you, a couple more months. So it's one of those. And last year, I only went to Providence for a little bit because of the baby. So that was hard for me for, 19 years not going to a summit. I felt like I was missing out on family, but it was nice. I'm getting texts and videos and FaceTimes, but it's hard. So Providence, the energy, but I miss those people when I don't see them, especially after so long.
We have a crew in Cali that's been since I started 2000. Every single one. They help out behind the table, and they're just great group of people. Shout out to Jim and the crew over there, boys. So even with us too in summits, that's something that going back, this is something me and Erin had to do, is we do have those crews. And what was Tom Plummer's main thing at the NFPA, Corey? If you were a new vendor, what were you not allowed to do?
What were you not allowed to do? Oh, you had to be in the room.
Be in the room and not stand behind your table. Go meet people.
That's right. Go meet
people. Go meet, shake the hands.
And during lunch, you had to sit with attendees.
Sit with attendees.
We found ourselves going to these places, and we have our crew. We know you guys, so we get so excited to see all these new people that we didn't realize that we have so many new trainers in there that, we weren't trying to not give them time, but we realized that we're not going out and shaking so many new hands because we're so many busy shaking our friends' hands now too. So we've been trying to be far more cognizant of that, of going out and making sure that we're introducing ourselves to the newer crew in there and making them part of the family too, as we've been there for 25 years of making sure that we're introducing new people into there too. So
that was our big thing. We would get to the social or the next morning and be like, oh, I met 3 people. Who did you meet? And it not just 3 people, but it was 3 solid, I know about them. Yeah. I'm sending them a shirt. I know their name tomorrow. I'm making sure I say hi, or things like that, where every day it would be oh, I got 7 new people, or just little things where it's not hi, nice to meet you. It was a full interaction where they're all right, this is now my person. I made this a person.
Yeah, we fell into the trap. The 4 of us could easily sit there for a social and BS for 3 hours, and it would just be gone. So we did realize that we need to, I hate to say work the room because we're not working the room, but meet people, get to know.
Yeah.
And that's it. And make them feel welcome there too, and they want to come back for more. So that was our big push for last year, was to try and meet new people and make sure that they felt as comfortable as everyone else within the room too.
Sure. And that goes both ways to show hey, these people are accessible, and whether it's you guys or the speakers, if you are new, if it's your first time, don't be afraid to walk up and start a conversation. Not just introduce yourself, but start a conversation to say, hey, I I want to be part of this family. I like to really get to know you and to grow a relationship and see where things go, because it really does go both ways. And sometimes you have to wait a few minutes. You have to kind of pick and choose your times, but don't be afraid to do that. Don't be too embarrassed or too shy or wonder if somebody's gonna like you or anything like that, because that's why we're all here, is to get to know people and to get to know people better and to grow relationships. So, for you guys, good on you for trying to make people feel welcome. But for those people who are first time attendees, put yourself out there. You never know. You never know what kind of relationships you'll build.
And for Rob and Erin also, I alluded to this earlier, is that there's everything's got a con, everything's got a summit, a fitness professional is so inundated. They've never had more options for education than ever before. It was, you went to Perform Better because you guys were one of the only games in town. Now they're getting, I could go to my feed and have 5 or 6 different masterminds that are being pitched to me. And, I only have so much money to spend in education. I have a budget and I allocate a lot of money towards educating myself and my team, but there's so many options. How do you, or why should one pick a Perform Better Summit this summer versus, spending 20 grand a year in a mastermind or something like that?
I can roll, but I've talked the whole time. So
no, I was gonna,
go ahead. I'll let you
no,
answer
you can
first.
start.
Good.
No, go.
All right. So I think the plus of Perform Better, but
you go.
So, we used to start, we had our 1 days when we first started, and that was a little tease. We'd have 4 guys out there. We'd do 4 1-hour lectures in the morning and 4 hands-on in the afternoon. And we just talked about this yesterday. Our seminars started because we imported our first container of rubber medicine balls from Italy, and we couldn't sell them. No one knew what a medicine ball was. And this is pre-YouTube and pre-Instagram and pre all this. So we said, all right, if we can get out there and actually teach people how to use the product, we're going to buy the product. So that was the initial Perform Better 1 days going off. And we were running up to 12 of those a year going across and just really teaching people because they didn't have access to the education on there. It was a great way to introduce that quote unquote functional training. From there, we went into our summits and dived a little bit deeper now too. So we got away from product and started going into making people money, business tracks, going into assessments. And we realized that we didn't want to make this a product pitch. We wanted people to just say, hey, we're getting straight, really, really, really good education. And if I'm getting good education, I'm getting more profitable by going to see a Tom Plummer or an Alan Cosgrove or a Don Saladino, and my gym's making an extra 50 grand a year. I'm going to have an extra 50 grand a year to spend. So it's kind of a little bit of a gamble on our part. Is we don't make much money on the summits. We try, and if you look at our speaker lineup, put all that money right back into it and the socials. We try and bring in the best of the best because we're not making much money on the summits. We're trying to put it back into the attendees so they have this killer experience. So now getting to your point of why would I pick that? A, is a lineup across the board. I don't think anyone could honestly say that they are going to beat that lineup. As far as the quality of presenter on there, I've never seen something close to it where you're getting that over 3 days. Going into what your masterminds are, I think it's a great way for someone to see who they want to be their guy. Is it going to be Vince Gabriel? Is it going to be Alan Cosgrove? Is it going to be Tom Plummer? Or do I want to peel a little bit from each of these guys and hybrid myself on there too?
Yep.
So this is a great time to not only see them for a couple hours of lecture on there, meet them at the summit, and then it comes down to like, hey, their stuff could be good. Do I mesh with them? Is this the guy I want to work with all the time now too? So now I can have a couple beers with them at the summit, really get to know them. Hey, I do want to take it to the next level on there. Or, you know what? Not a fit for what I thought it was going to be. I'm going to go look at this guy over here too. Yeah. So it's kind of a nice speed dating, if you say, with some of these guys to get to know them a little bit better. Because like I said, their content could be great, but is it a fit for you? And not everyone is. Vince is really into sports performance. Now he's gotten into some of the other stuff too. So he's rounded himself off completely. So I think that would be my answer if that answers
That's
it.
a good answer. I like that answer. I was going to say variety. I have kind of a different way that I look at seminars, especially ours, because they help put it together. So from a schedule standpoint, we have 67 presenters speaking for us this year at 3 locations, which is huge. And if you look at the names, again, we always try to keep the top names, but we're always bringing new people in because the industry, like you said, is always changing. So we always want people filtering in. But just the variety of topics. So there's 4 slots. So 2 lectures, 2 hands-on, and then we have a Q&A with the presenters all in one time slot. So every 90 minutes we have that going on. But when you look at our schedule, and a lot of people complain about this, like, oh, you have, this guy and this guy going against each other. How am I supposed to pick? Like, to me, that's a good problem to have instead of looking at a schedule where you're like, oh, good, there's one guy I want to see on Friday. Right. I don't know anybody else. But out of all the 4 rooms, not counting the Q&A, we try to do a different track. And I don't think a lot of people realize that, but just trying to schedule the people. So if we have a rehab, like a Gray Cook or Lee Burton talking about rehab and corrective exercise in room 1, well, maybe in room 2, we have a business talk. In hands-on, we have a sports performance or speed. And then maybe in room 4, we have, something low back pain or something. Mm-hmm. And then if none of those are what you're looking for, you have the Q&A where you can talk to the presenters, ask them questions, get to know them a little better. It's more of a private setting. So that's kind of the way we look at the schedule. So I think just the variety of the topics and the people that are giving them gives more opportunity than if you're doing a mentorship, like Rob said, you're trying to peel away the layers of the onion. It's more specialized, it's more focused to what's going to benefit you, as opposed to, like he said, speed dating, where it's, all right, I'm going to do a corrective exercise here, and then I'm going to do low back pain here, and then I'm going to do a business talk here. So it's you get to pick and choose based on kind of what fits you. Or if you don't know what fits you, say you're new to the industry, you can kind of pick and choose everything and then kind of see what you like, what you don't like, and where you fit the best.
Yeah. And one more thing to add on that too, and I think Erin answered it better than I did. I think we have one more group too, so that your new trainers are just getting overloaded with information when you leave a summit. They are smoked because there is just so much information. Your guy that's been there for 10 or 15 years, or girl, I think we hear this so much. We had a customer, Mark Rollo, his gym, My Fitness Kitchen, burnt down last year, and they were going through a whole resetting of it. And we hear this from probably at least 100 people a year, is they come to a summit just to reset ourselves. It's a nice, hey, we get up there, we get to see all of our friends, we talk, we enjoy ourselves. The network has become, we've been doing them now for 22 years. So that as you start to come year in and year out, you start meeting the same people, and you look forward to meeting up with them. Our speakers will fly in a day early, and I'll get together and go out and have a couple drinks, or they'll stay a day later. So I think that reset phase too is, it's not directly about the education, but the environment is so cool that they're soaking that up, and it's a nice reset for them. Plus you have some really motivational talks in there too, that when you leave, it's like, I got this. I'm good to go for another year.
Yep.
All right. Last question. We touched on it just a little bit. You guys worked together for a long time and weren't always married, weren't always, we'll say, lovey-dovey. So how has it impacted your relationship? How has it made it better, the fact that you worked together for so long before you really got along?
Yeah. Before you do that, I unfortunately have a training session that I have to jump out to.
You're going to miss this.
Well, I know this story, but Trey started off with a doozy. He's ending with the best story. So, I mean, you booked it. This is terrific. But I just wanted to say thank you, Erin and Rob, for being on. And Trey, hate to dip out, but
no, I was trying to catch it. I was trying to slide it in before you had to get out. But that's okay.
Business calls, man.
Business calls. Do your thing. Hey, we love you, brother. We'll see you soon.
You don't get your clients to walk for 5 minutes to warm up?
I know, right? They'd be like, just go walk out. Just, you got this.
Go walk on the treadmill.
The one time I was, ended up being, for whatever reason, there was a fire engine out blocking my way getting into the gym.
Always.
Everybody else went around. And so I get in here and I'm like running 5 minutes late. They already started the warm up. They were doing their thing, and I was like, "Do I even need to be here?" And they're like, I don't know. Tell a dad joke or two, and then go away." And I was like, "Good." So, guys,
you do a good job.
Thank you very much. That's right. Appreciate you guys.
See ya.
See you, dude.
Just to follow up on that 5 minute, I think Erin used this because Mike Boyle at a seminar once was like, if you have your clients walking on the treadmill for 5 minutes before your workout, you might as well put a mask on because you're robbing them blind. That's what you're doing. You're just robbing them.
I couldn't resist that one.
Yeah, it's funny, there are no treadmills here, so you definitely ain't gonna get that. But same thing here. So like Corey's, like my people, if I'm tied up or something, they do their thing. The new people, sure, we gotta guide them along. But that's our job, is to work ourselves out of a job, but to create an environment that they couldn't imagine not being. So
you got good culture. That's very important.
100%. All right, so your story, you're on.
So I'll start with the present day, since it's something that we literally mention it every single day. Yes, we work together. Yes, we're married. Yes, we live together. We build an office. We sit in the same room downstairs now. At nighttime, after the kids go to bed, everything's cleaned up. We sit on the couch. We can't get through a 1-hour show in 1 hour. Because I know Rob says he doesn't shut up, but I don't. There's something where after literally sitting with each other all day, being with each other in the same room all day, like we'll go to the store, like, oh, I'll come with you. And we always joke about it because neither of us can shut up, to the point where when the show's on, I'm like, we'll start talking and then it's like, pause. What? All right, sorry, I just thought of this. All right, email me about this real quick. And then it's just nonstop. And even yesterday we had to go into the office, and we pull up to the office, instead of like getting out and being like, all right, it's Monday morning, we're here. What song was it on the radio?
LMFAO.
We're sitting there in the front of Perform Better, like, and we were cracking up because I'm like, what is wrong with us? Like, anybody else would be like, all right, I just need a break. Like tomorrow he was supposed to go on a trip, and guess who's going with them? Guess who bought a plane ticket? Because I'm like, you need someone to go with you, which he actually does. So it's a true work trip. But it's like, instead of that, oh, I'll stay home and you take someone else and take the notes and help you out with this order. I'm like, all right, firing up the babysitter. I'm coming too. Like, I don't know.
It's a solid positive. We never get sick of each other. Everyone's like, geez, I shouldn't say everyone says, I can't wait to get away from the wife. But you hear it often, like, oh, I got a free night. Yeah. I'm always like, hey, I'm running to the store. And she's like, without me? I'm like, no. I'm like, why don't you have your shoes on already? So.
It is. It's, I think it's really good. But we joke about it because we literally do everything together. And it's never like, I need a minute or I need a break. Whereas 12 years ago, 10 years ago, I don't even think we talked. We're making up for lost time.
Right.
It's different lifestyle than we were both used to. We were both pretty quiet, pretty. I don't even know what the right term would be. We're running home, so let's put it that way. So yeah, it's a completely different lifestyle now, and it's been awesome. So I mean, it's you back up to my two kids that Erin basically is their mom at this point, and helping raise them there's no way I could do what she's done. It's amazing. My daughter's 15 and relies on Erin. I'd love to say I do have a good relationship with her, but Erin she takes the brunt of the late night talks or the how do I do this or helping her with homework, because Erin will just sit there and she's so compassionate and we'll spend the 45 minutes to break it down and 45 minutes to go through it. And all of a sudden it's 2 hours later. So from that standpoint, amazing. But yeah, no, we definitely, I don't want to say we weren't extremely talkative for a long, long time. And then we actually started training together and that's kind of where it all changed.
It all revolves around fitness.
Gym, fitness.
We started working out with each other and then relying on each other and became accountability partners.
What's my feather in my cap?
What's your feather in your cap? You could beat me in an airdyne?
You chased me down.
She caught him too.
She was.
Told you I was fast. Right in the beginning, I was fast.
Relentless for a while, so that's and I'm appreciative that she was.
Well, knowing the story and having talked about it, I think that's a good way to tie it all together, to talk about how it really is about family and it really is about relying on each other. And that's the whole point of this podcast, is to talk about the personal connections and the personal stories
Hey, I'll show them our food.
In the background of fitness. Fitness is the thing that has sort of brought us together, but it's the relationships and the personal connections and the all the people things.
Hangs in our house right there. This is just my family from last weekend. Erin framed it last weekend. So nice. Family is everything.
Yeah.
If you ask our 12-year-old, he'll tell you the same exact thing. So sorry to cut you off on that one, but
oh no,
they're 12-year-old and our 15-year-old. What's the most important thing in life? Family's everything.
And that's what it is. The Perform Better family, the ties that we bind, and the friendships, and it really is. And we've talked about it. From that text message in 2019. I was welcomed into the family, and
we didn't even have to slap you.
Well, I learned my lesson. I learned, very quickly. Hey, it was surprising. Granted, there was 1,000 miles difference between us, so that helped. But but for somebody who was there for the first time, and my relationships with the FMS guys certainly, helped bring me in a little bit faster. But I don't think it's any different. You wouldn't treat me any different than you would.
You carved your own path, right? You carved your own path, right?
So, and that's what this podcast is all about: is carving our own path and sharing stuff with each other. So, a 56-minute conversation that felt like it was 15 minutes.
And what episode are you on now?
This is going to be number 7.
Number 7.
So Kevin Carr was number 5.
Yep.
Lee Burton is going out next week, and then you guys are number 7. So
wish you guys the most success with this. This is awesome. We appreciate you guys having us on there. This is part of family, but we appreciate you guys too. This is so much. So you guys have helped us out too professionally. I know we've had many a conversation when we talked about what we should be doing, what you guys are doing too. So you guys help us out a ton too. So we appreciate that. And ever need anything from us, we're only a phone call away. And
absolutely. I don't doubt it.
Not a text message, a phone call.
For me, it's a phone call. Erin, you can text. But
yes, it is. It is a phone call because I checked both phones, my old phone and my current phone, for Rob Milani text messages, and there are 0. So.
I am not a huge texter. I do apologize for that. It's
But there are also
call me and I'll pick up the phone. I'll tell you that.
Good to know. There are also 0 going from me to you too. So it doesn't. You don't have any unreads from me.
Nice.
Well, hey, thanks so much. I love you guys. I know Corey does too. I hate that he had to jump out, but that's the way the conversation just kept flowing. So
nice.
That's how we roll.
Hey, that's how we roll. Again, thank you.
So thank you again for joining us on the Coaches Unscripted podcast. We hope today's stories have inspired and empowered you in your coaching journey. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with fellow coaches. Connect with us on Instagram at the Coaches Unscripted podcast to continue the conversation and stay updated on future episodes. Until next time, for Corey Smallwood, Rob and Erin Milani, I'm Trey Belcher. Keep coaching from the heart and building strong communities.
Yay.